Picture this. You're driving on a dark and rainy night, struggling to see through the windshield. Suddenly, augmented reality kicks in, and you can see the road and potential hazards with enhanced clarity. Sounds like a scene straight out of a science fiction movie, right? Well, in today's episode, we're going to explore how that technology is becoming a reality for drivers in a Tesla. So buckle up and get ready to take a ride in your next car that just so happens to have augmented reality inside. Welcome back to Reality One, the podcast where we demystify the cutting-edge world of augmented reality and explore how it's transforming the way that we live, work, and play. I'm your host, Avraham Raskin, a spatial UX architect from Australia. Each episode, I take you guys on a journey to discover the limitless potential of AR through simple day-to-day applications. Whether you're a tech enthusiast or simply curious about this game-changing technology, this podcast is for you. Join me as we delve into the world of AR, uncovering its secrets, exploring its possibilities, and learning how it's revolutionizing our world. So sit back, relax, and get ready to have your mind blown. This is Reality One, and I'm Avraham. Let's get started. In today's episode, we're going to see through the eyes of Tesla Autopilot. We're going to look at enhanced visibility in nighttime and low visibility conditions, and checking out how AR can simplify dashboard data. If you remember last episode, I talked about using the AR windshield to display a augmented reality navigation that I called Follow the Yellow Brick Road. I used the concept of a Tesla, and I explained that the reason I was using a Tesla was because it's the closest car, not just because it's an electric vehicle, but it's the closest car to having the puzzle pieces of what's needed for augmented reality. And I explained the ins and outs of the technology, the advantages, and a lot of the challenges as well. But at the end of the day, I explained that the only thing kind of missing here to tie it all together is that visualization system, the augmented reality system, to help project and beam the images to your eyes that would give you that AR vision. I did float the idea of AR glasses that Tesla could package in their Roadster, but I mainly focused on the windshield, looking out through the windshield and seeing the world around you as you drive, the road in front of you, the buildings around you, and having augmented reality layered on top of that. This episode, I'm going to continue on to the idea of an AR windshield, and I'm going to share with you guys a couple more ideas that will further enhance the driving experience while making driving safer. So this is some more ideas of augmented reality inside of a Tesla that will use the AR windshield to project augmented reality out onto the road in front of you. And just as a little sneak peek, next episode, we're going to jump back into the car and I'll show you how augmented reality could improve the interior of the car. And just a hint, we might not be using the AR windshield anymore. Okay, so before we start, let's visualize this together as we normally do. So close your eyes and picture this. You're cruising down the city streets in your sleek new Tesla Roadster. And you can't help but feel like you're living in a science fiction movie. The car's advanced autopilot system effortlessly handles the traffic, leaving you free to enjoy the ride. Suddenly, you notice a notification on your dashboard screen. New update available, it says, with a tantalizing promise of new augmented reality features. Without hesitation, you tap the screen and start the update process. As the software installs, you can feel your excitement building. What new possibilities will this update unlock? Soon enough, the installation is complete and you're ready to explore. The first thing that you notice is that the windshield screen now shows you a wealth of new data. You can see the names of streets, the speed limit, and even the distance to the nearest charging station. But that's just the beginning. As you approach an intersection, you suddenly see a flashing red warning on the screen. Pedestrian in the zebra crossing, it says. Sure enough, there's a figure that's just walking across the street in front of you that was hidden from your view by a parked car. Thanks to the car's sensors and augmented reality, you're alerted to the danger well in advance, giving you plenty of time to slow down and avoid a collision. As you continue your journey, you're amazed by the level of detail that the augmented reality system provides. You can see the outlines of nearby buildings and landmarks, along with information about their history and significance. The car even highlights nearby restaurants and attractions, complete with reviews and ratings. It's like having a personal tour guide built right into the car. But the real magic happens when you approach a tricky section of road. As you navigate a winding mountain pass, the car's augmented reality system kicks into high gear. Suddenly, you can see the road ahead of you as if it were a video game, with obstacles and hazards highlighted in bright red. You're alerted to oncoming traffic, tight curves, and even patches of black ice. With the car's advanced sensors and augmented reality, you feel like you have superhuman driving skills. As a drive comes to an end and you pull into your driveway, you're left with a feeling of awe and wonder. The future of driving is here, and it's even more incredible than you could have ever imagined. Number 1, seeing through the eyes of the Tesla Autopilot. I'm going to dive a little bit more into 3 main areas of augmented reality through the windshield. And the first one is seeing what the Tesla Autopilot is seeing. Because the Autopilot and its sensors, or I should say the car and its sensors, is picking up a lot of information. And without being able to show you what that is, it's almost like you're being driven by a blind man. How could you ever really properly trust a car? If you jump into a regular Tesla now, you're not really going to see visualizations. But if you have the new full self-driving beta, it actually puts a visualization of what the car sees onto the screen in front of you. And over here, what we're doing is we're just putting that out onto the road in front of you. Instead of having to look down at your dashboard, no matter if it's the center console or if it's the dashboard right underneath your steering wheel, you still have to take away your eyes from the road. And that can be dangerous. Imagine if all the visualizations that you're able to see with this new full self-driving beta, imagine if that could be projected out onto the road in front of you so you didn't have to take your eyes away from the road. Imagine if you could see the visualizations and see that the car understands the differences between the sidewalk and the road. It can see the edges. It's showing you that it understands different lanes or even the direction of traffic. Maybe you can visualize that with an arrow, or maybe painting the lanes different color, different from the navigation, but maybe the subtle color differences of the lane helps explain to you oncoming traffic and the lane that you're driving on. And this could help build the confidence that the car not only can see the road, the sidewalk, and the lanes, but it understands the direction, the flow of traffic, and it's not going to put you in a compromising situation. It could also visualize and show the cars around you. Maybe it can show you the different types of cars, so it can explain that it understands the difference in a van, a sedan, a truck, and even different models of the cars. The more information it picks up about the cars and conveys to you, the more you can trust that the car sees. Now, on visualizations that's not with augmented reality, usually it highlights these cars by a bounding box, and different colors might mean different things. And with the visualizations, it usually shows you the 3D model of the car. Now, obviously here, you're seeing the actual car. So maybe we outline the car, or we show a subtle glow, or maybe we put the text of this is a sedan, or we say a BMW. Maybe we put a bounding box around the license plate number. Different ways of showing us that it understands the cars in front of us, that it sees them, understands how big they are, what kind of car, different types, and so on and so forth. Maybe it should be able to highlight the different parts of the road you shouldn't be on. So the medium or lanes you shouldn't be on might be able to have a subtle highlight of like red, or those crossing bars that just subtly highlight that we understand that this is a part of the road that you're not supposed to be on. Not just a different lane, but these are the islands or different parts that you shouldn't be on. What if it could highlight traffic lights and show you from a distance that, hey, we see a traffic light and we actually notice what it is? So Tesla right now does that in their visualizations onto the iPad. Bring that out onto the world with augmented reality. Maybe put a bounding box around the traffic light, or a digital color next to the traffic light so we identify if it's red, yellow, or green. So we understand that the car can actually see the traffic light. Or we can go a little bit further and put a timer. Most traffic lights do not have timers, but the system obviously has a timer. And that would be a huge help if we could see next to the traffic light in augmented reality, timer that counts down how much longer the red light's going to be or how much longer we have for the green light. And it will show us this from a distance. And that it visualizes road signs. So a big thing over here is also not just picking it up like bounding boxes, but actually showing that you understand as well. So imagine if the speed limit itself could be, let's say, projected onto the road in front of you. Have you ever been to a city where sometimes as you enter the highway, they write the speed limit on the road, just like they paint an arrow on the lanes of the road? They sometimes paint, I think I remember it was Sydney, where I went to the city and I saw as we were entering the highway on each lane, it painted the speed. So imagine if with augmented reality, you don't just see it once, but you see it digitally painted in front of you. Project that onto the road next to the speed limit. And maybe it has some sort of animation like Waze does. But again, instead of being on a navigation app on your phone or in the dashboard where you have to take your eyes away from the road, here it looks like it's digitally painted onto the lane in front of you. So you can see at all times in your field of view what the speed limit is. With the road signs, we could also take action upon them. So again, not just bounding box, but showing that we understand. If we see a road sign that says no UE, maybe we do that painting to show that, hey, this turnaround that you would have thought to take a UE, we emblazon red on the road to show you you can't do that. Or if there's animal crossings, maybe we show you a model of an animal or on the side, or just alert to you that you're approaching animals over there. And likewise, for many more signs, it's not about just showing that the car sees it, but it's showing you that the car has taken an understanding of what's happening and helping you prepare for it. There's also some more examples of hazards that we could highlight using augmented reality. I'm going to get more into that in section 2, but 2 things that would be nice with augmented reality would be predicting pedestrian behavior to anticipate that potential hazard. We're not just showing that we recognize that there's people, but we're also using machine learning and prediction models to predict where that pedestrian would be and also where a car would be. And if the system not only recognizes, but predicts that there's a likely chance that a person's going to run out onto the road that's, and hidden behind a car, or a car's about to make a change lane that's not safe for you, is if we could alert you to that using augmented reality in front of you, where we might show the path of the car. Maybe we show a ghost image of where that car is going to be in 2 or 3 seconds if we don't make any, abrupt changes. Or maybe we flash a red warning sign in front of you. It's super important that this is all done in a very seamless and natural way. We don't want any kind of augmented reality that takes your mind off what's happening, that makes it any more dangerous to drive. It's very important that when it's showing you these things, that they use proper psychology and understand how to show us these pieces of information without startling us or without overloading our cognitive load, without making driving more dangerous. If augmented reality is done correctly, it'll actually make driving safer. And a big thing over here is that we don't look away from the road in front of you. Number 2, enhancing visibility in nighttime and low visibility conditions. So you can understand how driving in low lights and adverse weather conditions can make driving more difficult. Some examples could be heavy rain. So heavy rain can reduce visibility. It creates standing water on the road, which makes the road surface more slippery. And this could cause the car to hydroplane. Snow could make the road more slippery and reduce traction. It makes it harder to control the car. Snow and ice can also obscure road markings and signs. And there's ways of driving in these bad weather conditions. New car systems actually can help us with this. They can automate a lot of these things and take the actions that a professional driver could do. Taking that away, over here we're using augmented reality to help prepare you for it. Not only to let you know that it's about to happen, maybe we could show you in real time the steps or the actions you could take to make driving a little bit safer, such as like winding down the roads a little bit or which directions to steer your car in a dangerous, as you're sliding down the road. It could maybe show arrows that show you the direction that you need to steer your wheel to stop that slide, mid-slide. Another problem is fog. Fog reduces visibility, making it harder to see other cars and obstacles on the road. And last but not least, we'll say dusk and dawn. Let's give a couple examples. Dusk and dawn can be challenging due, again, to reduced visibility, glare, and the presence of animals on the road, because this is kind of like a time that animals are more likely to be out and come on the road. We could use AR technology on the windshield to alleviate these difficulties. We could significantly improve the driving experience, especially during these kind of challenging conditions. So how could we enhance visibility? We could project images onto the windshield. We could use AR to highlight the edges of the road. We could also use it to highlight the edges of signs and other objects, making them more visible, using edge detection, things like that, even in these low light conditions like you have dusk and dawn. So these could help drivers to see more clearly and help avoid potential hazards. We could reduce glare. We could either use special coatings on the windshield to block out or filter this excess light, or we could use AR to do this for us and more. It could help reduce the glare that is caused by the sun's low angle during these times. So you have a clearer view of the road ahead. Maybe it desaturates the image, or think about even as you come closer to nighttime, we could activate a UV mode that takes these images and projects them onto the windshield to make it easier to drive. So we're using these technologies to subtly change the images that you're seeing to reduce anything that there's a problem of, like we said before, glare. We can desaturate the image, and we could play around with these kind of things to help make it easier to see what's going on the road in front of you. We could also provide you with real-time information. With AR, we could show you things like traffic updates, road conditions, and weather forecasts. This is going to help you guys make better decisions, avoid traffic jams, and stay safe. And doing all this while projected onto the road in front of you, onto the lane in front of you, around you. So they're not things that you have to search up on your phone or look away from the screen. Again, during these conditions, looking away is definitely not advisable. But if we could take all those kind of information and visualize in your field in front of you, visualize it in the road in front of you, we could help you get a sense of like what's happening and be more on top of these problems, these situations. We could also use this to highlight potential hazards. So if there's an animal on the road ahead that you might not see before, augmented reality could highlight that from quite a distance away when the sensors pick it up and detect that there's an animal crossing on the road. Maybe before we even see, maybe it's a small koala that's crossing the road in front of us, but we might have a visualization that's alerting us on, in big and bold, hovering above the koala saying, hey, slow down, there's a koala coming over here. We could use those nice and big visuals or any kind of obstacles. Let me give you, like we did with the visualizations, let's give you a couple scenarios. We're going to do 3 of them: dusk and animals, UV mode, and a snowstorm. And we're going to go back into visualization mode. Dusk and animals. Imagine driving down a rural road at dusk, right? This is the setting. The sun is setting and it's casting long shadows across the road. As you navigate a curve, you suddenly see a large animal in the middle of the road that's too close to avoid. You slam on the brakes and swerve, but it's too late. You feel the impact and you hear the sickening sound of metal hitting flesh. Now imagine the same scenario with augmented reality in your windshield. Before you approach that curve, your windshield actually highlights this potential hazard. So in this case, the deer, using AR technology, using those big bright visuals, maybe things hovering in front of it, you can see it from a distance or even alerting me around the curve with, it could be an arrow, it could be an image of a deer, it could be just a very simple hazard sign, but it's using these sensors and projecting them onto the road in front of me, in front of that curve before I get to it, to help me. As I enter the curve, I'm ready for this deer. And I'm able to slow down and swerve to avoid hitting the animal. Now, probably don't swerve, but I'm able to slow down and averting a potentially deadly collision. In this scenario, we used AR technology that would help us prevent this dangerous situation by just highlighting the presence of an animal on the road, far down the road, or around the corner. And by providing this to us in real time, it could save lives and prevent accidents, particularly during these challenging conditions like dust driving. Now, I use the example of a deer, but it could be anything. It could be any other animal. It could be a parked car. It could be something that's not meant to be there that your maps wouldn't prepare you for. Or if you've driven this route before, you're not prepared for. Another scenario could be a UV mode. Now, imagine the same scenario with the added advantage of a UV mode on your windshield that activates at nighttime. As the sun sets and the shadows grow longer, the UV mode kicks in and enhances your vision, making it easier to see the road and potential hazards. When the deer appears on the road, the UV mode highlights the animal with a bright, contrasting color, making it easier to see and avoid. This combination of augmented reality and UV, projecting that through augmented reality, provides that extra layer during nighttime. And the third example we're going to finish off over here is a snowstorm. Imagine you're driving through a winding mountain road during a heavy snowstorm. I don't know if you guys have done this before, but I've definitely been in this situation more than once. Sometimes it's been without the snowstorm, it's been in the deserts in Israel or on the way to camp in Australia, but we've definitely had those times where we're driving through and it's very hard to see around. But during a snowstorm, the road is especially slippery and the visibility is quite poor. Suddenly, you approach a sharp turn and you can't see around the corner. You slow down, but you're not sure if it's safe to proceed. However, with augmented reality through a windshield, imagine you could see through the mountainside. Imagine if you had X-ray vision. You could see through the mountainside, through the snow, and around the corner. And this system now highlights the edge of the road and any potential obstacles. It's showing you all the obstacles around you. It's showing you X-ray mode of what's coming around the corner and showing you any potential objects. It could be a car that's stuck or parked or zooming around, or an animal, or a very, very narrow road, or rocks in front of you. Any of these things, you could also see the other lane of traffic at any upcoming turns. This will help you plan your route accordingly. And with this added information, you can confidently navigate the roads and the sharp turns right now and avoid any potential accidents, even in the most challenging weather conditions like snowstorm. There's other examples like seeing potholes and reacting to them. If the system could identify different potholes and highlight to you which ones could be more damaging to your car, and maybe like plotting a little course around them so you avoid the more dangerous ones, or highlighting slippery or dangerous parts on the road to avoid. These are also ideas, but we don't have enough time to go into every single one of them. So let's quickly go into number 3, simplifying dashboard data. Like we said before, and I've said many, many times, looking away from the road in front of you can be fatal. Whether it's driving down a highway at highway speeds, any second can count, or it's during these bad weather conditions, looking away is definitely very dangerous. And augmented reality, one of its powers, it could take a lot of that data that you normally would look away from the road and look down onto the dashboard, onto your smartphone, and it could project that on the road. Now, I gave you a couple examples, so we're going to breeze through these, but some of those examples is things like speed limits. So it's identified the speed limit, it's painting that onto the road lane in front of you, so it's always there in your field of view. It looks like it's painted onto the road in front of you, so it doesn't really get in the way. But if you want to see it, you just glance down at the road. Now, glancing down at the road is nothing like glancing away from the road and down into your dashboard. In the road in front of you, when it's painted onto the road lane in front of you, that's still in your main field of view. You don't have to move your eyes, and you're not changing your focal distance of your eyes. When you're looking away from the road and into your car, you're also readjusting that focus. You're readjusting your eyes focus. Now, you don't notice it because it's very natural, but you're doing that. And doing this a couple of times is not ideal. So painting it onto the lane in front of you is definitely much better. You have things like traffic light timers. Those things could really, really help. We don't have them now, but they could be piped into the infrastructure that gives you this to make it safer. Predicting what the pedestrian is about to do if they're going to become a hazard is one thing that's not used nowadays in data, but it would be an especially useful feature. all these things really, really help. Imagine Waze highlights cameras, but imagine if in front of you, augmented reality could highlight those speed cameras and help you identify them from a distance away. Or you could also see the distance of the car in front of you, show you maybe in meters, or maybe it just shows you whether you're in the danger zone based on your speed and based on the distance in front of you. It might highlight that space between you two and show you maybe seconds to impact, or show you that you have to slow down because you're not 1 car length or 2 car lengths behind. So I've given you quite a few different ideas. Keep going with these. Look at your car. Look at what you use today, whether you're driving a regular car and you're looking at what you can do on a regular phone, on a regular navigation app, or whether you have a newer car like a Tesla that has all this information in front of you. Think of the things that you could use while looking out into the road in front of you that would help you with driving, would help you with safety. And think of how many more of those that I haven't given you today would you love to see coming to your car. All right, that's it for this episode of Reality One. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. Today, we looked into a couple more ideas in the Tesla. We specifically looked out of the windshield. Last week, it was about the navigation through the windshield. Today, I shared a few more ideas of augmented reality through the windshield and how it can enhance the driving experience and improve driver safety. I really hope you found this episode informative and entertaining. If you enjoyed it, please leave a review, share the podcast with your friends and families, and send me any feedback or questions that you might have. If you've got any questions or suggestions for future episodes, I'd love to hear them as well. In the next episode, if you are excited about these possibilities of augmented reality in a Tesla, and you like what we've done with the windshield and navigation and the future of driving, you're going to want to listen to next episode. In the next episode, we're going to look into ideas of augmented reality in the interior of the car. So we're no longer going to be looking through the windshield. We're going to see how we can use augmented reality on the inside of the vehicle. So stay tuned for that episode. I'm telling you, you're not going to want to miss this next episode of Reality One. And in the meantime, I encourage you to keep exploring the world of AR technology and experiment with different ideas. Thank you again for listening to Reality One. And I look forward to having you join us for the next episode. Until then, keep exploring this world of AR and stay curious. I'll see you guys in the future.